Hi, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the second half of the week for this uh, week for module 1. Um, one of the things that we're going over now is like the indigenous African influence um, to Latin or Chicano music. And one thing that's interesting about it is that this is something that ended up being a lasting influence for many, many years. Even, well, obviously, like currently, like we see that all the time with these indigenous African rhythms and stuff like that that are also implemented into Latinx and Chicanx music. And so you're going to be learning about son clave and stuff like that. Even like rumba patterns and the cumbia, and how those come from African traditions, and so they made their way here via the slave trade of the African slave trade during European colonization and imperialism. And so when the slaves or African people came over here to this world as slaves, they brought those traditions with them. And one thing that's awesome about it is the idea of resistance that's attached to it. So although they were brought in these ships and taken stripped from their home and stripped of their identities and given these new names and stuff like that, they still kept some of those traditions alive through music and other forms too, even like language and stuff like that. But really, like the emphasis that we're taking is this idea of music as resistance. Like they kept that going, just like we saw with the indigenous Mesoamerican or Central American or Southwestern indigenous North American drumming and things like that and rhythms. The same influence applies based off of the African traditions and stuff like that too. So keeping those rhythms going, that son clave, the mambo, samba, rumba, cumbia, all of those are all those rhythms that end up being a big, highly influential part of Chicanx and Latinx music. But you'll see that throughout this week and see how it played out. Um, but just keep that in mind when you're learning about these, that's where they come from, and that's what's important about it, is that those traditions stayed alive through resistance of forgetting them and leaving them behind. They stayed here. They came here. They stayed here, and they're still here, and that's what's amazing about it. Hope you enjoy it.